Welcome to an incredible story that will not only inspire you, but also help you improve your English skills. Today, we're diving into the fascinating life of one of the greatest minds in history, Albert Einstein. A man whose ideas transformed the world. Albert Einstein wasn't just a genius. He was a symbol of persistence, curiosity, and an unrelenting quest for knowledge. Through his groundbreaking discoveries, he revolutionized the way we understand the universe, and his journey is a testament to the power of resilience in the face of challenges. As you listen to his story, pay close attention to the new phrases and vocabulary that I will introduce throughout this video. At PowerHab English, we believe that learning English isn't just about mastering grammar and vocabulary. It's about expanding your perspective, gaining insights, and finding inspiration in the lives of extraordinary people. Today, Albert Einstein's story will not only help you improve your listening skills, but also broaden your understanding of how curiosity and hard work can lead to greatness. So, grab a notebook and get ready to take notes. This journey will not only expand your vocabulary, but will also give you a deeper understanding of the qualities that make people truly remarkable. Albert Einstein's life shows us how an open mind, a willingness to question everything, and the courage to keep going even when faced with failure can ultimately change the world. Let's begin this exciting journey together with PowerHab English, where learning English and life-changing lessons go hand in hand. Prepare to be inspired to improve your English and to explore the life of a genius who changed the world forever. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in a small town called Ulm in Germany. His parents, Hermann Einstein and Pauline Koch, were ordinary people. Hermann was a businessman who worked with electrical parts, while Pauline was a homemaker who had a deep love for music and learning. When Albert was born, there was nothing extraordinary about him except for one small detail: his head was unusually large. His family even joked about it, wondering if he would grow up to be a normal child. Little did they know this boy with the big head would grow up to change the world. Albert was a very quiet child, and he didn't speak his first words until he was almost 3 years old. This concerned his parents, and some people even thought there was something wrong with him. His family began to call him the quiet one, because he rarely spoke even when other children around him were chatting away. However, Albert wasn't quiet because he was slow or didn't understand what was going on. He was quiet because he was always thinking. While other children played, Albert would sit for hours observing the world around him as if he was trying to understand how everything worked. He was deeply curious about the world, and this curiosity would go on to shape the course of his life. When Albert was 5 years old, his father gave him a small gift that would change his life forever: a simple compass. At first, Albert didn't understand how it worked. How could the needle always point north no matter how he turned it? This tiny object fascinated him, and he became obsessed with it. He would stare at the compass for hours, trying to figure out the invisible force that guided the needle. This experience left a deep and lasting impression on him, as it was the first time Albert realized that there were unseen forces at work in the world. From that moment on, he was determined to understand these forces, and his curiosity to explore the unknown was born. When Albert started school, things didn't go as smoothly as his parents had hoped. He didn't like the strict way his teachers taught. Back then, schools were very rigid, and students were expected to memorize everything. But Albert wasn't interested in simply memorizing facts. He wanted to ask questions and find answers. He wanted to understand the why behind things, not just repeat what was taught. His teachers often got angry with him for questioning their methods. One teacher even told him, "You're a disgrace. You'll never be successful in life." These harsh words hurt, but they didn't stop Albert. Instead, they fueled his determination to prove everyone wrong. Albert struggled with some subjects, especially languages, but there was one subject he loved more than anything: mathematics. It was in mathematics that Albert found his true passion. The logical beauty of numbers and the way they explained the world captivated him. This love for mathematics became the foundation for his later scientific work. He called it the language of the universe. And Albert Einstein loved solving problems like puzzles. Despite his struggles in school, his family always believed in his potential. His mother, Pauline, noticed his deep love for music and encouraged him to learn the violin. At first, Albert didn't enjoy practicing, but over time music became a way for him to relax and think clearly. Through music, Albert found a balance, and it became a tool for him to organize his thoughts and focus his mind. Albert's uncle Jacob also played a crucial role in shaping his intellectual curiosity. Jacob had a deep love for math and would teach Albert in a fun and creative way. One day, he told Albert, "Math is like a treasure hunt. Every problem is a clue that leads you to the solution." This playful and engaging approach sparked Albert's love for mathematics, and from then on, he began to see math as an exciting adventure rather than just numbers on a page. Albert wasn't like other children. While many of his peers spent their time playing games and having fun, Albert often spent hours reading books and imagining how the world worked. He loved reading stories about great scientists, and these stories inspired him. He often dreamed of one day making groundbreaking discoveries of his own. Albert was determined to make his mark on the world, and this ambition drove him to explore questions that no one else was asking. One day, while walking home from school, Albert asked himself a question that would stay with him for the rest of his life. What would it be like to ride a beam of light? This question sparked a curiosity in him about the nature of light, space, and time, a curiosity that would eventually lead to his revolutionary work in physics. It was the beginning of his lifelong journey to understand the universe. When Albert was 15, his life took a difficult turn. His father's business failed, and the family had to move to Italy. Albert stayed behind in Germany to finish school, but he hated being away from his family. He felt lonely and unhappy, disconnected from the support system that had been such an integral part of his life. Eventually, Albert decided to leave school without finishing it. He couldn't stand the strict rules and harsh teachers any longer. Instead, he chose to study independently, reading books on science, philosophy, and mathematics, teaching himself everything he wanted to know. This was a risky decision, and many people thought he had ruined his future by leaving school. But Albert didn't care. He believed that true learning came from asking questions and seeking knowledge, not simply following rules. His passion for learning drove him, and he was determined to follow his own path. At just 16, Albert wrote his first scientific paper. Though it wasn't perfect, it showed his incredible potential and deep understanding of scientific principles. Albert also applied to the prestigious Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Switzerland, but he failed the entrance exam. He struggled with non-science subjects like French and history, but instead of giving up, Albert decided to try again. He worked harder than ever before, improving his weak areas and refusing to let failure define him. His determination paid off. At 17, Albert was accepted into the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, one of the best schools in Europe. However, even though he was finally studying at a top-tier institution, Albert's troubles were far from over. His rebellious nature made it hard for him to fit in with the traditional structure of the school. While he loved studying mathematics and physics, he wasn't interested in other subjects like history or languages. His professors didn't always understand his unique way of thinking, and Albert often felt out of place. But this didn't discourage him. He knew that his path to greatness would not be easy, and he was ready to keep pushing forward no matter the obstacles. Some of Albert Einstein's professors at the Swiss Federal Polytechnic didn't understand him, and some even disliked him because he didn't follow their traditional teaching methods. One professor once said, "You are a smart boy, Einstein, but you lack discipline." Albert wasn't the best student in his class. He often skipped lectures and preferred to study on his own. While his classmates followed the rigid curriculum, Albert spent his time exploring deeper questions about the universe. What is light? How does time work? Why does gravity exist? These weren't ordinary questions, and most people at the time didn't have answers for them. Albert's curiosity pushed him to look beyond what was taught in class. His mind was constantly seeking to understand the fundamental laws of nature. Even though he didn't fit the mold of a typical student, his passion for science grew stronger. His independent learning and questioning spirit were the traits that would later lead to his groundbreaking discoveries. During his time at the Polytechnic, Albert met a brilliant young woman named Mileva Maric, the only female physics student in his class. Mileva shared Albert's passion for science, and they quickly became close friends. They would spend hours discussing scientific theories and ideas, dreaming about a future where they could make important discoveries together. Mileva wasn't just Albert's classmate, she became his closest companion, a person who understood his ambitions and supported him in his quest for knowledge. However, their relationship wasn't without its difficulties. Mileva faced harsh criticism for being a woman in a field dominated by men. At the same time, Albert struggled with financial difficulties which made their future uncertain. But despite the challenges, they remained dedicated to each other and to their shared dream of making a significant contribution to the world of science. Albert once wrote to Mileva, "Together we will conquer the world of science." This vision of working side by side with someone who shared his passion for discovery kept Albert motivated even in tough times. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert graduated from the Polytechnic with a degree in physics. He was eager to begin his career as a scientist, excited to apply his knowledge and curiosity to new challenges. However, life had other plans for him. Despite his education and potential, Albert struggled to find a job. He applied to several universities, hoping to become a professor or researcher, but he was rejected each time. His professors didn't give him good recommendations because they believed he was unmotivated and unconventional in his approach to learning. This period of rejection was painful for Albert. Imagine working so hard for years only to face disappointment after disappointment. But Albert didn't give up. Instead, he took whatever jobs he could find to support himself. In 1902, Albert finally found work as a clerk at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. His job was to review patent applications and decide whether the inventions were original. It wasn't a glamorous position, and it had nothing to do with physics. At first, Albert was disappointed. He wanted to be a scientist, not a clerk. But instead of complaining, Albert made the best of his situation. The job allowed him to have free time, and he used that time to think about his scientific ideas and theories. In this quiet job, Albert found the freedom to explore the questions that had been occupying his mind for years. Albert Einstein began to refer to the Swiss Patent Office as his thinking lab. While reviewing patents and evaluating inventions, he would secretly scribble down his thoughts about the nature of light, time, and space. This job, though unrelated to physics, gave him the mental space to work on his own scientific theories. Albert was determined to pursue his passion for science, even if it meant staying up late into the night after finishing his day job. He was willing to sacrifice comfort and stability for the sake of his dreams. In 1903, Albert married Mileva Maric. The couple had a simple wedding, and soon after they welcomed their first child, a son named Hans Albert Einstein. Although they were happy together, life wasn't easy. Albert's salary as a clerk was modest, and it wasn't enough to support his growing family. They lived in a small, cramped apartment and struggled to make ends meet. Despite these financial difficulties, Albert remained focused on his passion for science. Albert's friends often advised him to give up on his scientific dreams and focus on his job to provide for his family. But Albert refused to abandon his true calling. He once said, "I would rather struggle for my passion than live comfortably without purpose." This statement captured his determination to pursue his dreams no matter the hardships. He was willing to sacrifice a comfortable life, to follow his curiosity and continue working on his theories. In 1905, at the age of 26, Albert Einstein published a series of groundbreaking papers that would change the world of physics forever. Scientists later called this year Einstein's Annus Mirabilis, Miracle Year, because of the incredible impact these papers had on the scientific community. His works challenged existing theories and introduced revolutionary ideas. 1. The photoelectric effect. Albert explained how light behaves as tiny particles called photons. This discovery was crucial in understanding the behavior of light and laid the foundation for the development of quantum mechanics. In recognition of this achievement, Albert was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. 2. Brownian motion. Albert proved the existence of atoms by explaining the random motion of particles suspended in a fluid. This was groundbreaking at the time, as many scientists had doubted the existence of atoms. 3. The special theory of relativity. This was Albert's most famous work, where he introduced the idea that time and space are relative, not absolute. From this theory came the famous equation E times mc2, which showed that energy and matter are interchangeable. This equation would become one of the most famous formulas in physics, revolutionizing how we understand the universe. These 3 papers, published in 1905, shocked the scientific community. Albert Einstein, a humble clerk with no university position, had just revolutionized the entire field of physics. His work challenged long-standing beliefs and opened the door to new ways of thinking about the nature of reality. After 1905, Albert's life began to change dramatically. Scientists around the world started to notice his work, and his ideas gained widespread recognition. He was offered teaching positions at various universities and soon became a professor. His hard work and determination were finally paying off. However, Albert remained humble and grounded. He didn't let success get to his head. Instead, he continued to ask big questions, always pushing the boundaries of science and seeking deeper understanding. Albert Einstein firmly believed that knowledge was infinite and that curiosity was the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. His journey from a struggling clerk to one of the most influential scientists in history is a testament to the power of perseverance, self-belief, and an unyielding passion for discovery. Despite facing rejection, poverty, and periods of doubt, Albert never let go of his dream to understand the universe. His story teaches us invaluable lessons that can be applied to any area of life. 1. One failure is not the end. It's a step toward success. Albert faced many setbacks throughout his life, yet each failure taught him something new, propelling him closer to success. 2. Believing in yourself is more important than seeking approval from others. In an era when few understood his unorthodox approach to learning, Albert trusted his own ideas and instincts, which eventually led him to revolutionary discoveries. 3. Big dreams require big sacrifices. Albert's ambition and passion came at a cost. He gave up comfort, security, and sometimes even personal happiness in pursuit of his dream to understand the natural world. By 1909, Albert Einstein's groundbreaking discoveries were becoming well known across Europe. His work had earned him respect in the scientific community and he was appointed as a professor at the University of Zurich. Later, he moved to Prague to teach at the German university. During these years, Albert began to realize the true impact of his work. People started looking at him not just as a scientist, but as a genius, someone who could solve the mysteries of the universe. Yet despite the fame and recognition, Albert remained humble. He once said, "I am no genius, I am simply curious. I stay with questions longer than others." Albert was not motivated by fame or wealth. He continued to live a simple life, wearing the same old clothes, focusing solely on his work. He didn't allow the attention and accolades to change his way of life. For Albert, it was never about being famous or rich. It was always about seeking the truth. However, as his fame grew, so did the challenges. He became a global icon, but with that came expectations and pressure. In 1914, Albert moved to Berlin, Germany, after being offered a prestigious position at the Prussian Academy of Sciences. This was a significant step in his career, as it allowed him the resources and freedom to dedicate himself entirely to research. However, this period in history was also marked by turmoil. World War I broke out, affecting millions of lives. While many scientists at the time supported the war effort, Albert spoke out against it. He believed that the pursuit of peace and understanding was far more important than war. His strong stance on peace became a hallmark of his personal and professional life, and he used his growing influence to advocate for harmony and unity during such a challenging time. Simultaneously, Albert's marriage to Mileva Maric began to deteriorate. The pressures of fame, combined with financial struggles from their earlier years, put immense strain on their relationship. In 1919, Albert and Mileva divorced. Despite the personal turmoil, Albert made sure that Mileva and their sons were financially supported, showing his commitment to ensuring their well-being despite the end of their marriage. However, something incredible happened in 1919 that would forever change the course of history. British scientists tested Albert's general theory of relativity, a theory he had been working on since 1915. The results confirmed his theory: gravity could bend light. This was a revolutionary discovery that would change how humanity understood the universe. News of this breakthrough spread rapidly, and Albert Einstein became a global icon overnight. For the first time in history, a scientist was treated like a celebrity. Headlines around the world proclaimed Einstein's theory proven true. When asked how he felt about his newfound fame, Albert replied with his usual wit, "If my theories are proven wrong, the Americans will say I am a German, and the Germans will say I am a Jew. If my theories are proven right, the Germans will say I am a German, and the Americans will say I am a Jew." This humorous and insightful remark highlighted the challenges he faced as a Jewish scientist in a world filled with prejudice and political divisions. Despite the accolades, Albert's identity was often shaped by the complexities of his background. Throughout the 1920s, Albert traveled the world giving lectures and meeting other leading scientists. He visited the United States, Japan, and many other countries, sharing his revolutionary ideas and inspiring future generations of thinkers. His travels allowed him to connect with other great minds, exchange ideas, and expand the global scientific community. Albert Einstein also used his fame and influence to advocate for peace. He spoke out against war, saying, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding." His stance on peace was just as important to him as his scientific work, and he tirelessly worked to promote the idea that the world could only truly thrive through mutual respect and cooperation. Albert's story, full of struggles and triumphs, is a powerful reminder of the importance of curiosity, perseverance, and the willingness to challenge the status quo. He showed us that success is not just about intelligence, but about dedication, resilience, and a desire to make the world a better place. Even in the face of adversity, Albert Einstein remained true to his passion for science, and his contributions continue to shape the world we live in today. Albert Einstein was not only a groundbreaking scientist, but also a strong advocate for social justice. He supported the rights of minorities and refugees, becoming a voice for those who had none. He was deeply committed to fighting for the underprivileged and speaking out against injustice, using his fame and platform to bring attention to these causes. However, as his fame grew, so did the criticism. Some accused him of being too idealistic, while others attempted to discredit his work, especially because his views often challenged the established norms. Albert faced these challenges with grace and confidence, quoting, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." This powerful statement reflected his belief that innovation and progress are always met with resistance from those who cannot understand or accept change. In 1933, the rise of the Nazi regime in Germany forced Albert Einstein to flee the country. As a Jewish scientist, he was in grave danger. The Nazis burned his books and labeled his groundbreaking theories as Jewish science, attempting to erase his contributions from history. Albert moved to Princeton, New Jersey in the United States, where he joined the Institute for Advanced Study. Despite the personal pain he felt over the situation in Germany, Albert remained hopeful, and he famously said, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." This philosophy guided him as he navigated the challenges of displacement, always looking for the potential for positive change, even in dark times. Albert became a naturalized American citizen in 1940 and spent the rest of his life in the United States. Although he was deeply heartbroken by the events unfolding in his home country, he continued to speak out against the regime and its atrocities. His efforts were instrumental in bringing awareness to the dangers of totalitarianism and oppression. During World War II, Albert was asked to support the development of an atomic bomb, though he had no direct role in its creation. However, his famous equation, E = mc2, laid the groundwork for nuclear energy. Albert was deeply troubled when he learned of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. He regretted that his work had been used for such destructive purposes. After the war, Albert spent the rest of his life advocating for nuclear disarmament. He once said, "Mankind invented the atomic bomb, but no mouse would ever construct a mousetrap." This stark metaphor highlighted his belief that humanity should not create tools of destruction that it cannot control. Despite his immense fame, Albert lived a simple, humble life. He refused to own a car, didn't wear socks, and often spent time sailing, even though he didn't know how to swim. His life was a reflection of his character, curious, unpretentious, and deeply focused on the pursuit of knowledge rather than material wealth. Albert's curiosity never faded. He continued to ask questions about the universe, from the nature of black holes to the possibility of time travel. He believed that there was always more to learn, no matter how much one accomplished. In his later years, Albert focused on unifying the forces of nature into one theory, a challenge that remains unsolved to this day. His desire to understand the deeper laws of the universe pushed him to continue working on this theory until his health began to decline. Even as his physical condition worsened, Albert remained dedicated to his work, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to discovery. On April 18, 1955, Albert Einstein passed away at the age of 76. His death marked the end of a remarkable life, but his legacy continues to inspire generations of scientists, thinkers, and dreamers. Through his scientific contributions, his advocacy for peace, and his lifelong curiosity, Albert Einstein's impact on the world will never be forgotten. Albert Einstein's last words, spoken in German, were never recorded. The nurse who was by his side did not understand the language, and, as a result, the final thoughts of one of the greatest minds in history were lost to time. However, even though his last words were not preserved, Albert Einstein's contributions to science, peace, and humanity remain unparalleled. His life and legacy continue to inspire millions around the world. Albert's story serves as a powerful reminder that struggles shape greatness. Throughout his life, Albert faced rejection, ridicule, and the horrors of war, but he never gave up on his dreams. His perseverance, even in the face of immense obstacles, is a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. Here are 3 key lessons we can learn from Albert Einstein's extraordinary journey. 1. Struggles shape greatness. Albert faced many challenges, but each one only made him stronger. He encountered rejection early in his career, and many doubted his theories. He also lived through the devastating impacts of World War I and World War II. Despite these hardships, Albert never gave up. His ability to persevere through difficult times is a lesson we can all take to heart. Struggles are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. 2. Curiosity drives progress. Albert Einstein's entire career was built on his insatiable curiosity. He questioned everything from the nature of light to the fabric of time itself. He taught us that it is not enough to accept things as they are. We must dig deeper, ask questions, and seek answers, no matter how difficult or impossible they may seem. Albert's life shows that curiosity is the fuel for progress and the key to pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. 3. Humility is powerful. Despite his worldwide fame and genius, Albert Einstein remained humble throughout his life. He never sought fame for its own sake. Rather, he remained focused on his work, living a simple and modest life. His humility was a testament to his true greatness, and it shows us that true success lies not in accolades or material wealth, but in the impact we have on the world and the lives we touch. Albert's humility reminds us that greatness is not about showing off, but about staying grounded and using our talents for the greater good. Today, Albert Einstein's name is synonymous with genius, but his story is about much more than just intelligence. It is about perseverance, courage, and the unwavering belief that one person can change the world. His life proves that greatness isn't about being perfect. It's about being passionate, persistent, and unafraid to challenge the impossible. One of Albert Einstein's most memorable quotes is, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value." These words capture the essence of his life and legacy. Albert did not seek success for its own sake, but rather he sought to add value to the world through his work, his ideas, and his contributions to society. Albert Einstein's life is a testament to the power of passion, curiosity, and humility. His story continues to inspire us all to push beyond the limits of what we think is possible, and to strive for greatness not just for ourselves, but for the betterment of humanity. Thank you so much for joining us in exploring the incredible life of Albert Einstein. His journey teaches us that greatness isn't just about being the smartest or the most talented. It's about perseverance, curiosity, and having the courage to challenge the impossible. Albert's story reminds us that every struggle we face is a stepping stone toward success, and that true greatness lies in the value we bring to the world. If you found inspiration in Albert Einstein's life and want to continue learning more stories that not only improve your English, but also motivate you to reach for your dreams, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to PowerHab English. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What lesson from Albert Einstein's life resonates most with you? Leave a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.